Welcome to the broadcast, everybody, and greetings from my salon, which is coming into formation. Wasn't it reassuring to see the King at church? And isn't it wonderful to have a head of state who doesn't just pay lip service to faith, but actually rocks up at church almost every Sunday? It's wonderful, it's a tonic. And he was there in Fitcham this morning, greeting crowds and looking splendid in that fabulous long overcoat of his, so well loved, so well worn, and with very deep pockets so that he can clasp Queen Camilla's hand in those deep grooves. Very reassuring to have that presence. And we were furnished with a photograph of the King, a new photograph, which I really enjoyed. It's one of in my opinion, one of the better photographs we've seen lately. Millie Pilkington. Millie Pilkington was the talented photographer who captured this image at the library at Balmoral Castle. And doesn't he look immaculate there? Immaculate tailoring. And I love the attractive lamp at his side. And the books in the background give off that ambience, don't they? Wonderful. The kilt's made of tartan that's been named in his honour, the King Charles III. Tartan with its reds and blues and greens. And the tie is there in matching colours. And it was designed by the Scottish Tartans Authority a couple of years ago. This new photograph was published by Buckingham Palace to mark the birthday of Scotland's national poet, of course, Robert Burns. Actually, I think that England should celebrate one of our Burnses every year. Pete Burns. Don't you, my dears, Pete Burns of Dead or Alive? I think he's earned his place in history, and he's certainly a poet of great importance. You spin me right round like a record, baby. Right round, there's poetry for you. But back to Robert Burns, old Bobby Burns. Well, he died a very long time ago, didn't he, my dears? Back in the 1700s, I think, or early 1800s. But Burns Night is traditionally marked with a supper of haggis, neeps and tatties, turnips and potatoes, for those of you who aren't Scottish. And Burns, you know, wrote the text of Auld Lang Syne. Some people don't pick up on that. In 1788, I think. Auld Lang Syne meaning old long since, you know, for the sake of old times, along that sort of thing. Actually, we've got a fruit basketeer that I wrote to the other day because she ordered a keepsake, and her name is Fiona McPhee. I know I can't do a good Scottish accent, not without rehearsing anyway. I sound like Mrs. Doubtfire, I know, but whatever, my dear, whatever. We've got one called Fiona McPhee. Isn't it wonderfully Scottish? Fee McPhee, hello, my dearie. And I will read something Burns related towards the end of the broadcast to wrap up today, okay? And thank you all so very much for your wonderful suggestions that come in by the hundreds with regards to my furnishing arrangements, the flowers, how to deal with flowers, which I've given up doing, my dear. I don't have that kind of time, but I appreciate the suggestions. I think silk flowers are going to be the way for me, apart from the odd foray. Arrangements and fireplace suggestions as well. I think I probably will end up getting some sort of artificial one. As one of you told me, the Queen had some sort of fake fire at Balmoral. So if they're good enough for her late Madge, they're good enough for me, aren't they, my dear? You know, candles, that was another popular suggestion. Dried flowers. We'll have a play around, shall we, my dear? And we can play in this room, because this room, as I say, will be my salon, and I will be assembling my salon and forming my salon, but taking my time to do it, my dear, as we go along. And the benefit of putting the sofa in front of the fireplace at the moment, although I don't want to arrange a set for you, as I've said, I very much want this to be more natural in style, but the benefit of having it in front of the mantel is I can place all different kinds of fruit on there, can't I, for your enjoyment. From time to time, trinkets, tchotchkes, art pieces, so we can revolve a bit there, objet d'art. I'm not a perfectionist, by the way, when it comes to furnishings and decorating. I might give off that sort of, I don't know, maybe slightly pretentious vibe for wanting everything in its place and want to arrange things. There are certain YouTubers that do that and are very good at it. I enjoy them. Sometimes I enjoy watching that sort of thing, really like things just so. That's not me. I might give off that impression. That is not me whatsoever. My keywords are elegant yet cosy, lived in, comfortable. I like there to be a sense of elegance, but I like everything to be very cosy, my dear. Actually, one of the benefits of coming into this place with everything needing updating really and redecoration, which I'm getting on to, is that, for example, the carpet here is old. Well, I would assume it's at least sort of 20, 30 years old, possibly. It's not unattractive, it's just old, probably rather dirty. But I'm really enjoying it because I don't have to think twice, I don't have to think twice about taking my shoes off. When I come in, I stomp around without a care in the world. I like to be somewhere where you're not worrying about bashing into this and that and getting stains on anything. Not that I do, and not that I'm remotely dirty, you understand, my dear, but one doesn't like to feel as one treading around on little eggshells, and one little ornament's got to face due south, or Annie from Misery's going to leap on you, this kind of thing, my dear, just a sense of comfort. So I'm rather enjoying that. I'm arranging new windows actually in another room. I've got a sash window here next to me, a large one, but I've got a very large bay window in another room. And I knew coming into this that I would probably need to spend maybe in the region of £10,000 or more getting it renewed with new casements, new timber, new everything. I was delighted this weekend to receive a few quotes, and eventually a nice chap told me that actually that won't be necessary. They can place new sashes only into the window boxes, which is wonderful. It's more economical, and it means that I don't have to get blasted trickle vents. Any of you in the kingdom here had to replace your windows since 2022 because the new law or the new governmental insistent guidelines insist that we all put trickle vents into windows? And I've had them before, and they render double glazing absolutely useless. It's basically putting a hole in your window for ventilation, but you get all kinds of noise coming through, get drafts coming through, and I understand that we need ventilation and they serve a purpose, but really they can't come up with something else more practical that doesn't render all the good work of your window makers absolutely useless. I was terrified that I would have to replace my windows and get this trickle venting in, but I found a solution that doesn't require it. So that's my woes, my furnishing woes going on with that. I'm actually looking forward to getting the windows done. Some of them don't even open here. They're so old. They're so old. But for this room, for my salon, as I've told you, the walkways getting into this room and the door itself are too narrow for lots of chairs. I'm not going to be taking the window out to get chairs in. And I know there are other ways and means to get furniture in. I can't get large furniture in here for various reasons. But I've ordered 2 chairs, thrones if you will, that are actually much nicer than my old purple throne, so we can look forward to that. I've got a French giltwood wingback coming from the 19th century. That's going to take a few weeks because it needs a bit more upholstering, which they're seeing to, but it's from a chateau in the Loire Valley, and I know that you're going to love it. It's covered in the original silk damask fabric from Lyon silk. And it reminds me so very much. I wondered what it was that it reminded me of, because it's bluish with some gold adornments. But when I was unpacking my gowns and my effects, just yesterday actually, because I'm still going through everything, I discovered this, which I wore in a very popular previous broadcast, some of you might remember, found at a charity shop. And the fabric is very much like this, the ancient Lyon silk. You'll see. It's quite uncanny how much it's rather like this. A little paler, and obviously it's ancient. But we've got that on the way with gold gilting. Oh, it'd be wonderful to broadcast from, my dear. I can camp it up to great effect. And then I've got another one that should be due next week or the week after. A cream armchair also with giltwood. It's a Louis XV revival style with Rococo carvings. Rather a simple one, but very nice. So I'll have to get some new cushions in, won't I, dear? More cushions on the way. And I've placed this other blue gown next to me with its taffeta and its rhinestones. You might remember that. It looked fabulous in a broadcast. It really did. I looked like the blue fairy. But I promised you when I wore it that I would show you me wearing it full length. And this is quite a common request. Please can we see the rest of you? Do you actually have legs? Yes, I do have legs. I can confirm. And I will be showing you me full length. I will commit. I committed. I made a promise and I will show you. But first of all, I want to order some new heels. It's It's one thing I need, some high heels. They've all been through the mill, my dear. They've all trotted around every street looking for business. Old helium heels, they've been up in the air, down in the gutter. I need some new heels, so I've ordered some with a sort of gold colour to wear, and I'll parade around for you, my dear. I'll probably show off a few new gowns for you, or some of the old gowns rather, full length, so you can see them at their full effect. The painting behind me, I'm going to give you a close-up of it as I promised, because it is absolutely delicious. I believe it's painted in the 1800s, the mid-1800s. The painter was a W. Montague, not the painter of great note from anything I can see. I mean, I've seen a couple of bits and bobs of his work online. And I've also seen quite a few paintings that look extremely similar to this. It might have been quite a commonly manufactured style back then. You know, obviously there's trillions and trillions of still lives with flowers and fruits, and you know, this was the fashions of the time. But this one in particular I absolutely adore. I managed to haggle about 20% off of it, I suppose. I actually visited the showroom, which is about, it's not that far outside of London actually. I had to sort of get the tube to the last tube station and then get a Uber taxi, or Uber, whatever they are, out into the middle of the sticks. But oh, it was a vast showroom. It was a cavernous treasure trove. Quite something to see. But I was disappointed when I first saw the painting, because in the photographs I'd seen online, the colours were so vivid. It was pure joy and so strong. But actually that was a bit cheeky of them, because it was the lighting that did that. As you can see, it's actually a dark painting. That's why I've got the candles there. And don't worry, the candelabrum is perfectly safe up there. I know it looks like it might catch the pictures alight, but it won't do that. It's quite a wide mantelpiece. There's quite a bit of distance there, but it illuminates the paintings. They go very well together, don't they? Don't you think? They're quite nice in tandem. I think they're a good foil for each other, a nice complement. But yeah, I turned up and it looked extremely dark, the painting. And I believe it's very dirty. You know, that there's grime that accumulates into the painting. Please don't ask me to clean it myself. I'm not going to clean it myself. I've seen all the tutorials online, but I don't do that. And the truth is that it's too expensive. I can't afford to get it professionally cleaned, so it's going to have to stay dirty for the time being. It comes alive under light, but it is so beautiful. And as you can see, all these blooms are put together in a sort of golden vase there, which reminded me so much of my own arrangement in my own vase, my gold vase that was memorialised in the photograph of the keepsake. But don't you think it's astonishingly lovely? Billowy blooms, peachy, creamy petals, delicate leaves, dusty grapes there at the bottom with water droplets. Actually, it was that water droplet that sealed the deal for me. I just thought it was wonderfully realised. Radiance of light, stunning arrangement of God's bounty. And it was in the perfect frame as well. That was the other thing. So I really do feel very lucky, actually, to be its custodian. I really think it is the most exquisite painting. I really do. And I'll also mention here that I had a fruit basketeer reach out to me. She's requested a keepsake, actually, my dear. I'm sorry you haven't responded to yet. We know you're waiting. Camille from Denver, Colorado, but she has shown me her fruit room. I hope you don't mind me sharing, Camille dear. I'm being a bit naughty. I should have asked your permission first, but I ain't got time today. She has a fruit room with all these delicious paintings and portraits. Isn't it wonderful? Now, let's get down to business, because I received a question from a viewer, and I'm trying to hold back, but it won't be easy. Frosty Summer says, "Hello River. I have noticed that Princess Kate has wrinkles on her face since coming back in the public. Do you think she would benefit from bangs to cover them and the problem would be solved? Otherwise, there are plastic surgeons." Frosty Summer, my dear, it sounds like the damage is already done, to be quite honest with you, but your entire outlook on life is warped and it requires reconfiguring. If I'm going to be brutally honest with you, my dear, what a question about Princess Kate. What on earth are you talking about? Cutting in bangs to solve the problem? There is no problem to be solved, Frosty Summer. That's the crux of my answer to you. There is no problem to be solved whatsoever. There is no wrinkle in Christendom and beyond that needs to be ironed out. I'm going to enrich you by making a few points about this. For a start, my complexion, for example, is highly praised. Highly praised, but you put me in front of an HD camera or an iPhone and I will cower away in absolute horror, my dear. I'm sure you could pick up more spots than you'll find on a leopard and more wrinkles than you'd find on the foreskin of a Shar-Pei. So, you know, we all have to put up with these lenses and these highfalutin, high-D instruments of torture these days. I don't know about you, my dear, but I catch myself by mistake on my iPhone in HD and recoil in horror and in terror at what I see before me. Is that really me? Could it possibly be me? Well, think about the poor royals. They have to go out and about with selfie sticks being podded in their faces as if they're cattle prods. Hi, king, give us a picture, give us a this, give us a that. Oh, poor Catherine. So for a start, you have all these unflattering angles, unflattering photographs. She does very well. And she is 43 years old. Can we please remind ourselves of this? 43. She's not 23. And she's doing very well for any age, but especially for 43. But aging, becoming seasoned, is not a crime. Can we have some levity here? It's not a crime, it's not taboo or unusual. It's natural and normal and even beautiful. I will also say that I defended Meghan for the very same reason not so very long ago. Do you remember that people were coming for her saying she looks tired and haggard and old and this, that and the fourth? And I absolutely sprang up to her defence, just as I'm doing with Catherine. And I will do so again and again and again. I'll come for her for many things if it's warranted and if the critique is justified. But for a few wrinkles here and there, not on your Nelly, my dear. And I actually think that she's aging very well, just the same as Catherine is. Do you expect people to stay wrinkle-free or super smooth like a baby's bum throughout every season? Like Wildenstein? The poor late Jocelyn Wildenstein? Is that what you're after, dears? Although I will say about Meghan, I never really, and I know lots of you are going to disagree with me about this, but I never really sensed Botox in her brow. It moved naturally and never looked frozen. Conversely, Catherine's did at some points, and I absolutely sensed the Botox there. She absolutely had Botox. Nothing wrong with that. Most people do these days. And it can be done perfectly well with a gentle hand, with somebody who understands the anatomy of the face. It's about natural approach, as natural as you can get with something artificial. You understand freezing of muscles, but she absolutely had it. The time when it was at its strongest, for my money, was the Top Gun premiere, where she was escorted or helped along by Tom Cruise. It looked absolutely fabulous, don't get me wrong, but you could see the subtle appearance of the Botox horns as it was all kicking in very strong. Looked absolutely wonderful, just a different kind of look. What you're seeing now, my dear, is the fact that under treatment in the past year, she stopped doing the Botox. Yes, she did. That's why there was what people are calling an apparent sudden aging. Of course, the treatment takes its toll. Time happens. But moreover, and more dramatically, it was the stopping of any sort of Botox in the system. Because it is a toxin, isn't it, my dear? And Catherine, of course, is taking a very holistic approach to her treatment, and she wouldn't be tolerating any such interferences. Do you understand? But you're talking, Frosty Summer, you're talking about royalty here. Can we just get back to royalty? Can we just get back to real life aristocracy? Can we not confuse royalty with celebrities and the way of the celebrity and the Jocelyn Wildensteins of this world? Not that there's anything wrong with that. Plastic surgery can be fabulous. I love all the Joan Rivers of the world. Do what you want to do, my dear, but isn't it reassuring, as I've always said, that royalty can just age and get on with it and promote aging as an acceptable face of humanity to the world. I think it's wonderful. And I, for one, would be quite happy to see Catherine age in the same manner as the Princess Royal, in the same manner as Lilibet. Would you have enjoyed all the photographs of Annie and Queen Elizabeth if they weren't smiling, with the face popping with wrinkles and lines and smiles and expressions and all those wonderful images? No, absolutely not. So why would we want to deprive anybody else of it? She looks truly wonderful, with or without the odd wrinkle. She's not especially wrinkly, but expression lines are the last thing on her mind at this moment in time, my dear. They are the last thing on her list of priorities, and they should be on yours as well. Staying alive is actually what's on her list of priorities at the moment. She's blessed with each line, and she's glad to accumulate them, I should imagine, my dear. Age cannot wither her, nor custom stale her infinite variety. I hope I make myself very clear. And the Princess of Wales was seen trotting about in Notting Hill this week, wasn't she? She was at Finley & Co, where they sell glasses, and it's just wonderful to see her getting on with everyday life. Enki's daughter says, River, have you heard that Dame Anna Wintour has asked Her Royal Highness Catherine, Princess of Wales, to be on the global cover of Vogue? I'm in the northwest of England, but I can hear the plates smashing in Montecito from here. Yes, I can hear them too, my dear. Yeah, apparently Anna Wintour made a personal appeal to the princess, and she reached out via an intermediary. Well, Catherine is a sensation, my dear. She is a sensation. And moreover, she's guaranteed bums on seats for, well, in this context, eyes on copy. Guaranteed. It's business. It's a business decision on Anna Wintour's part, my dear, pure and simple. Eyes on the prize, and the prize is Catherine. And it's an evergreen prize. It's not deciduous, like the Duchess of Sussex, who comes in for a season and then she's out of favour. Do you understand? With the Princess of Wales, the favour is eternal, as she transcends from her position as Duchess of Cambridge to Princess of Wales to Queen Consort of the United Kingdom and all her realms, as is her destiny, God willing. Do you understand? The Princess of Wales does not pander to flattery. She doesn't care if it's Anna Wintour, or if it's Rupert Murdoch, or if it's Rita Skeeter. She doesn't care, my dear. She doesn't care who's flattering her, who's licking her arsehole. She will be queenly, and if she thinks that it will benefit the kingdom, then she will assent. Do you understand? The world of publishing is at her want or whim as the future queen of this kingdom. And the Duchess of Sussex might thrill to such collaborations. But for the Prince of Wales, the Princess of Wales, rather, as I say, it's a matter of duty to be seen by the public, to support Britain and Britain's designers and endeavours, and of course the friends of this nation. I'm going to have a little sugar break while I'm recording and finish munching this. I picked it up earlier at a local cafe. It's a caramel cornflake brownie, and the chocolate in it is so dark and the cornflakes so crunchy and so delicious. Treacly. The Moorishness of the chocolate. Dark chocolate. Divine decadence, my dear, if you'll excuse me. Those toasty cornflakes. Delicious. What a pig. What a pig. I mean, here's a photograph, by the way, of the cushions that I showed you and I'm sitting on right now. This is them in situ in the antique parade at Camden Market that I told you about. This is where they came from, you see. They were neighbours with some taxidermy there. Not my cup of tea, but there it is. And some fairy lights. How quaint. Now, let's see what Sophie's been up to, shall we? The Duchess of Edinburgh has been dripping in her new jewels and gems, which are a rumoured gift from the hubby. She wears the rose gold Happy Diamonds collection by Chopin, earrings, pendant and bangle. Some gals have all the luck, don't they, eh, ladies? These expensive gifts showered upon them. Some of us have to make do with a box of milk tray and a rim job. You understand? Not that I'm complaining. Speaking of milk tray, here's an old box of Cadbury's milk tray from back in the day. This is when it was palatable. What a sensation. Not that I was in existence quite in these times, you understand, but back in the day, the taste of Cadbury's chocolate, unctuous, high street brand, was the envy of the world. Growing up in the kingdom, you'd have your Cadbury's milk chocolates with its shiny purple foil wrappers. Tasted amazing. We couldn't believe it when we tasted chocolate from other climes, from Europe and especially from America, brands like Hershey's, just so inferior to ours, so hideously inferior. One felt sorry for other countries. Well, now Cadbury's is dreadful here, and I think it's because it was sold off to an American company actually. And it's made, they changed the ingredients, put seed oils in it, things like this. I can't remember what, but it's been in the news a lot lately. I'm surprised they sell a single bar and that they're still in circulation, my dear. Awful. The dumbing down of a nation begins with chocolate. Yes. The Duchess of Edinburgh was attending the Royal Corps of Army Music dinner at Gibraltar Barracks at the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. And she serves there as Colonel-in-Chief of the Corps and enjoyed music from the band of the Coldstream Guards. And earlier in the same day, she was seen in Prada polka dots and Jimmy Choos, looking fantastic. And isn't this glimpse of Sophie at the shoot for her 60th birthday recently a tonic? She was wearing Victoria Beckham trousers and burgundy wreaths, and we must say many happy returns to Sophie. It was the 20th of January, I think, that she turned 60. 60 wonderful years of our golden trophy, Sophie, and she was photographed by Christina Ebenezer at Bagshot Park in January. Glorious. The Princess Royal never lets us down, does she? And she's been delighting South African fruits. During her visit to Cape Town, she was out jolling with the South African Riding for the Disabled Association, which provides free equine therapy, sports and training. And she was also at the new Commonwealth War Graves Commission Memorial, honouring the contribution of South African military labourers in the First World War. Also, she was seen at the Desmond and Leah Tutu Foundation and the South African Astronomical Observatory. I thought this orange number that she was wearing, together with the green jewel, absolutely sublime. And at the Sandringham estate, His Majesty the King welcomed the Prime Minister of St Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Terence Drew. I'm trying to find something interesting to read to you from this book, which looks very interesting. I think I must have shown it to you in a tip jar corner months or even years ago. Dirt and Deity, A Life of Robert Burns. I picked it up from time to time to look through it. It is very interesting and full of good facts, if you can find it out there, if you have an interest in Robert Burns. Who's it by? I've got the leaf somewhere, but the dust jacket, I've got that somewhere, but I've misplaced it. By Ian McIntyre. Very interesting, but I'm struggling to find an interesting paragraph to read. I'm just going to read the very opening segment and a poem. 1759. The entry in the Ayr Parish Register is of the briefest. Robert Burns, lawful son to William Burns, in Alloway, and Agnes Brown, his spouse, was born January 25th, 1759, baptised 26th by Mr. William Dalrymple. Witnesses John Tennant and Jas Young. Scotland's national poet was born in the same year as William Pitt, Schiller and Mary Wollstonecraft, near the contemporary of Robespierre and Mozart, of Nelson and of William Blake. It was the year in which Handel died and in which Haydn composed his first symphony. In London, Lawrence Sterne was about to achieve celebrity with Tristram Shandy, and in Geneva, Voltaire published Candide. It was only 2 years previously that the unfortunate Admiral Byng had been court-martialed and shot at Portsmouth pour encourager les autres. John Wesley, 5,000 miles a year, 15 sermons a week, was at the height of his influence and fame. The outstanding British scientist of the day was Henry Cavendish, although his eccentricity ensured that much of his work on the nature of oxygen and electricity remained unknown. He rarely spoke, wrote Sir John Plum. Sometimes he did, and sometimes he did not communicate his discoveries to the Royal Society. Blah, 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 ni blah, ni blah. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose. It's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love is the melody that's sweetly played in tune. So fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I. And I will love thee still, my dear, till a' the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee weel, my only love, and fare thee weel a while, and I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 miles.